Hello everyone, my name's Meg and I'm here at Gippsland Art Gallery for a very special edition of Art at Home. This special edition is made especially for our Gallery Geckos, the young members of Gippsland Art Gallery. So you would have received some art materials in the mail, some really thick 200 GSM paper, some craft card, some tissue paper scraps, some see-through acetate plastic, like this, and some regular cartridge paper as well, which is still a little bit thicker. And the last thing you would have got is a roller, paint tray, and some acrylic black paint. Some other things that you might like to have on hand for these projects that we're going to be doing is some recycled newspaper, magazine imagery, some collected leaves or flowers from your garden, coloured pencils, marker, glue stick, sharp grey lead pen, a sharp implement could be a nail or a needle or a compass point, just make sure you ask your parents for permission for something sharp, and some tape. In today's episode of Art at Home, made especially for our Gallery Geckos, I'm going to show them how to use the materials that we posted out in 5 different ways. The first way that we're going to be using the materials is we're going to be creating a scratchback on acetate. So you'll need one of your thin acetate sheets, a sketch that you've done, or an image from a magazine would be fine also, and you're going to place your acetate over your image that you've got, and then we're going to tape it down to the table so it doesn't move. And then anywhere that you want lines, you're going to use a sharp implement to scratch out those lines. So I'm going to go over my seagull with this scratching tool. You might like to use a sharp nail or a really thick needle, or even a point of a compass will work really well. Just make sure you ask for permission from a parent. Okay, once you're happy with your design, you can put a bit of your black acrylic paint over your design. And then wipe it back with a piece of scrap newspaper. I'm just using a circular motion. Lift that up so you can have a look. There we go. Might a bit more. And get rid of a bit more paint before it dries. The more you rub, the clearer your lines will get. There we go, so you can see that I've got my seagull. You might like to paint in some sections of paint underneath, and then you can wait for that to dry and scratch back into that and leave that as part of the effect as well. It's really interesting. So I'm going to paint some water under my seagull now. I'm going to let that dry and scratch back into it in a moment. Acrylic paint dries really fast, so we can work nice and fast on this project. I'm just dabbing the paint on because I think it makes it look a bit like water, but if you'd like to do a really solid effect, you can do that too. I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. While our seagull is drying, I'm going to take a piece of the craft card, the brown craft card, and I'm going to sketch a frame shape onto that. I'm going to do an oval today. And then another oval around the outside. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. And once you're happy with the shape that you've got, go over with the marker. And then we can add some detail to our frame. Interesting pattern on the outside. There we go. Maybe some. You can get really creative with this if you like. I'm just doing whatever comes to mind, making a beautiful ornate frame for our seagull. And then add some dots. Will be enough. Now I'm going to cut out this center section here where I've put the cross. I'm just going to bend my paper on my card a little bit, get the scissors in. There we go. At this stage you can erase any grey lead that's showing that you don't want. And we'll come back to our seagull. Hopefully that paint at the bottom's dried. And you can use your scratching tool or a grey lead and scratch out some more detail. And you're going to trim your drawing to size and place it in your frame. I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to mark roughly where I need to cut out my acetate plastic. That fits really well. I'm just going to flip that over and tape it into the frame. And there you have it, your final acetate engraving. These are made to stick on a window and have the sunlight shining through them. If you'd like, you could mount them on colour card or something like that. But I think they look really beautiful with the sun shining through them. You might like to experiment with different objects behind them and some photography as well. That would be really cool. For the mono printing part of our project, we're going to use the really thick paper that's got a textured side and a smooth side. We're going to sketch a really simple drawing on the textured side. I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to work with some leaf shapes because I think they're really nice and easy to draw. But you can draw whatever you like for this and take as much time to draw as you like. And once you've sketched out your picture, you're going to add it to a tub of water and let it soak for at least 5 minutes. We're going to add another piece of paper in there for another print we're going to take afterwards as well. So let them both soak in the water. There we go. Once they've soaked for at least 5 minutes, you'll need some scrap newspaper. And you take your paper out and blot any extra water out with the newspaper just by rubbing and changing sheets. No shininess there. I'll set that aside. I've got a piece of newspaper to protect my table and my sheet of thick acetate. I'm going to pop that down and attach it to the newspaper so it doesn't move with some tape. There we go. I'm going to load up my roller with some paint using my tray and then colour my acetate with some black paint. This is just black acrylic paint. There we go. Got a nice coating. I'm going to pop my drawing on top of that, like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over that drawing without resting my hand on top of it at all. Which is a bit tricky, but just do your best. I'm just using that drawing as a guide. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. And you'll notice that my paper's a bit smaller because I ripped that A4 piece in half so I can make some more prints. It's also easier to work at a smaller scale when you're learning. Here we go. So once you've gone over your whole design, you can peel it up and you can see the leaf pattern is printed onto the paper. So that's one type of monoprint. And then you're going, remember that piece of paper that you blotted out earlier? You're going to take that and you're going to put the smooth side just where you've just taken your print from. Pop that down and rub it with your hand or with a spoon, works really well. All over where you just worked, really, really hard. Lots of pressure, and we're going to try and pick up the area that we just printed. Okay, let's see how we went. Here we go, and you can see the leaves have picked up in the positive there. So that's 2 different prints using the same design and your acetate sheet. I'm going to show you how to do another monoprint now. For this you'll need your cartridge paper, so the not as thick paper, and your tissue paper coloured scraps. So I'm just going to paste them down in an interesting design. Once you're happy that everything's glued down, you can set that aside and bring back your newspaper with your acetate on. Some more paint on your roller and repaint that plastic. Now for this one, I've collected a few interesting things from the garden today. I'm just going to place them onto paint. Some flowers would work really well. Now I've got some petals to add as well. You want to work reasonably fast. You don't want that paint to dry before we've taken our print. There we go, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to place my paper with the collage side down onto the paint and rub really hard. Make sure that I don't move my paper while I'm rubbing either. If you like, you could use a spoon to help you rub it. Okay, you can have a little peek, see how it's looking. Oh, that's pretty good. There we go. You might have to pick off some of your flowers or leaves. That's worked really well. Collage with the leaves in there too, so that's Giclee. Project I'll be showing you is an incision drawing. You'll need a really hard surface to work on. I've got this clipboard. You'll need some coloured pencils, a grey lead or a biro pen. And we'll be using the 200 GSM paper on the smooth side like we have before, and some tracing paper or really thin regular printing paper, that's fine as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing a design, a really simple design, onto my baking paper. I'm going to do that now. So I've got my sketch here of some crayons drawing my name. I'm going to take my 200 GSM paper and place that on my clipboard. If you don't have a clipboard, make sure you tape it down so it doesn't move. And then place your drawing on top and take that down as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to go over your design with a really sharp grey lead and push really, really hard into the paper underneath. So I'm going to do that now. I don't know if you can see that, but push the lines into your paper underneath. If some of your lines don't look dark enough, you can flip your page back over and go over them again. Make sure you're pushing really hard. You can also use the pen for this, a biro for that works just as well. Okay. And what you're going to do now is you're going to grab your coloured pencils and hold them on an angle and render over those incised lines, and that will reveal your picture. might like to do the incising and give it to a friend to reveal what the picture is underneath. That would be really fun as well. Thank you so much for making artwork with me today. I hope you enjoyed all the projects that we had for you. If you did make some fantastic artworks that you'd like to share, make sure you either send them through to the gallery or post them online with the hashtag GipsArtAtHome, because I want to make a very special gallery just for you on our website.